Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for being part of this weather community. I see all the likes on the videos, and to all the subscribers, this community is it's for you, it's for us, just to get that weather information out there for safety. So we get into a few spots, watching a couple areas here. This as well, approaching the Caribbean, a stronger tropical wave, and we're going to see a series of those. There is a chance of some development in or near the Caribbean as we work our way deeper into next week. I want to get into that in this video. Here's that spin that'll make back-to-back storms or close to a tropical storm that'll approach Mexico again, just like Alberto. And then watching this little thing here just to the north of the Bahamas. Here's the coast of Georgia, for example. Here's Florida offshore. This is staying generally to the north of the Bahamas. This is something that's not coming into the Caribbean, but the hurricane hunters have been in this, and it's a very, very compact, tiny system. They did find a circulation, so they may upgrade this to a tropical depression or tropical storm. The next name on the list is Tropical Storm Beryl, so that may get a name. It's not a huge player to kind of roll in toward Georgia as we go throughout the day. Higher seas, though. So getting to these tropical waves, just marching across, it is normal to see tropical waves moving across, but there have been signs that we're going to see more moisture building. I was talking about the July outlook earlier this month and how there'd be a lot of moisture building. Well, that's from these tropical waves that are going to be a little stronger. We have one stronger one headed toward Trinidad and Tobago. That's going to up the rain chance this weekend, for example. And then as these start to come off, there are some signs now that we could get some development approaching the Caribbean. I'll show you that in a moment. Right now, this one not developing, but this is what will bring us a better chance of rain in the southeastern Caribbean this week and elevated seas. I want to get into those wave heights in a moment. Here's that broad spin in the western Caribbean and over towards Central America, just like how Alberto formed. And there'll be a window of opportunity for this to spin up into a tropical storm this weekend, but it's feeding moisture back through the Cayman Islands. Been tracking some rain for us overnight. Now, these tropical waves, I mentioned they're normal. Each season, there are about 55 to 65 tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa that march across. End of hurricane season's November 30th, just following the global wind pattern. You see this all across Earth, different areas where you get some storm systems, but then they start to develop as you get deeper into the hurricane season, and I'm starting to kind of get a hint of that. So this is what I'm looking at, and I always like to give you the early heads up. There's no alarming system coming at us, but this is kind of the first area to watch in the Eastern Caribbean, so to speak, as we go over the next week or two. It does look like one of these tropical waves is going to try to approach later this month, and it will be even stronger, and there are some signs that it may develop. The wind shear will not be as crazy, and there won't be as much dry air or dust around. So some development is possible late month or early July. So I'll be really watching later next week, and something could try to form potentially a tropical storm. We'll see. This stuff happens, not necessarily going to happen, but models are kind of hinting at something developing in here, and the environmental conditions are more conducive for development. So the early heads up, I'm going to be paying attention to these tropical waves carefully, as I always do, but as we get deeper into next week. Now here's that spin here, and here's what's left of Alberto. It did fall apart quickly, of course, over the higher terrain of Mexico, but the back-to-back system. So we have one system that fell apart, Alberto, and another one that's going to move into the Bay of Campeche and have a small window of opportunity to develop before it moves back into Mexico. Either way, another concern for the high rain amounts and that flooding. So here's Cuba, here's Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, my friends over toward Honduras and Belize. Watching this spin here, there's that area of high pressure. Here's that little guy that may become a named system and try to roll on shore. And then these tropical waves that will be coming at us this weekend and into next week. That moisture will be feeding in. So this is the setup for today. And I want to show you the American model in a moment, and still in pretty good agreement. As we work forward, this is our Friday. Now let me take you into our Saturday. We're going to see some sort of development in the Bay of Campeche. This is eerily scary how close it is to what we had with Alberto. So this area here is still conducive for some development. It would just need a little extra time over the water before it kind of kicks inland. And around this area of high pressure, just that feed of moisture driving in And that's going to bring in that new tropical wave. You can see the increased rain. I was mentioning parts of the eastern and in particular southeastern Caribbean for the weekend. Not a huge blob of rain, so not all of us are going to get it, but that rain chance will be bumping up. You see more green on the map, which is the rain, and then we'll be watching whatever swirl is over here trying to work inland on Saturday into Sunday. Sunday, that should start to work in. And then you see this moisture building, just kind of going through it into next week. These tropical waves move in, more rain, and then down the road, we're going to see a stronger tropical wave out there in the eastern Atlantic. That's the one that may develop as we get into later next week that I was highlighting a couple minutes ago. So here on the American model, same thing, watching this, Cayman Islands, surge of rain. Jamaica, once again, I feel like the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've been on the edge of some heavy rain. Most of it has been just to the west. We'll see some scattered showers. This here is Saturday, so watching that spin developing. Look at Cuba getting some rain, and there's that rain that's going to approach over toward Trinidad and even near Grenada. And then watching that flood threat for my friends in parts of Mexico. The Yucatan, we've been so active, also watching some flooding around. And then Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, yes, some scattered showers, a little bit more to the north. This is on Sunday, so this area moves in. But there we go. Look at all this moisture building. It's going to get very active as we get into later in June and into July, and then we'll start to see some development, which we do usually get. We get that uptick in the hurricane season. Here's that closer look. So you can pick a spot on the map where you are. Not as much Antigua and Barbuda. Bahamas will get a few showers around. This is that surge of moisture. So here's Guatemala and El Salvador. Still some big issues with the mudslides and the rock slides and the rivers. This is on our Saturday. And you see working around Saturday, at least in Trinidad, rain chance gets higher. Guyana and Suriname, spotty showers as we work our way toward Jamaica. And this on Sunday, just very active. Anywhere from Haiti back through Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, over toward the Yucatan again as that next system works into Mexico. And then this here, St. Lucia, Barbados. Look at that rain and look at that surge of rain. Guyana and Suriname, watching out for that flood threat. This is going out in time even more on Monday, watching more moisture moving in and an uptick in the rain in the Bahamas as we work our way into Monday. So several areas to watch. So watching everything, but I really try to break down where we could see that potential of development. So here are some of the gustier winds, kilometers an hour and miles per hour. Some of the gust 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles per hour near the Yucatan of Mexico. And then watching, you see that right there, a little bit of a swirl like Alberto. We'll see if it could tighten up and get stronger and become a named system. That will start to work in later on Saturday into Sunday, very close to the coast of Mexico, and then eventually moving into Mexico. So this here is Sunday. Whatever system is there starts to work in. And then this here, look at some of these gustier winds that are popping up with these. And by the way, these are not water waves. These are atmospheric waves. So disturbances in the air. That's why I was mentioning the tropical waves. So these tropical waves move in on Monday. Winds are going to be kicking up. Even some gust around 60 to 80 kilometers an hour. Some gustier winds, Barbados south through Trinidad in Guyana with that other tropical wave. Now here are the seas. Meters right here, feet over here, and you can see some of the choppier areas. This area that I was highlighting just north of the Bahamas that the National Hurricane Center may classify into a tropical depression or tropical storm. The western Gulf of Mexico and Bay of Campeche, of course, everything's been really elevated, and the western Gulf, but starting to watch here closer to the eastern Caribbean with these surges of moisture moving in. We're going to see some of the seas building. So this is today. Let me bring you into tomorrow so you get a handle on that. And you see as with this developing system there, about 2 to 3.5 meters with some of those wave heights. So right around 9 to 10 feet. And then going out in time here, this is Sunday. By Sunday, things are a bit more settled, but then that catching my eye that we're going to see some increased seas near the eastern Caribbean with those stronger tropical waves moving in. So the next names on the list, Beryl and Chris. The Hurricane Center names that area north of the Bahamas this morning or today at some point. It would be Beryl. Maybe Beryl becomes that system that's over toward the western Gulf of Mexico. And then Chris. Chris is the next name after that. And then Debbie. Higher rain totals again. A lot of this working in Saturday into Sunday for Mexico. We are thinking of you. Thank you for sharing this channel for safety's sake across Mexico with these higher rain totals in these back-to-back systems moving in. We'll see some pockets easily of 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain in parts of northern Belize and then up toward the Yucatan of Mexico, and some higher totals, Guatemala and El Salvador. Again, even interior sections of Honduras closer to the Pacific side, those rain totals are going to be on the higher side. We'll get some isolated areas of flooding in Nicaragua. Cuba, we're going to see some rain and storms. Higher totals are going to be back into the western end of Cuba, and we swing back from the Cayman Islands toward Jamaica. Cayman Islands, we could have a few higher totals as we go throughout the weekend, 75 millimeters or 3 inches of rain. Scattered storms, watching that back from Jamaica, Haiti into the DR. Not as much in the northeastern Caribbean. Saba, Statia, we could get a passing shower. Dominica, there'll be a few. Rain chance starts to bump up as we go through the weekend and get towards Sunday. And you see some of the higher totals getting closer to Trinidad, coming out of Guyana, especially by Sunday. We could have some 3-day totals, so encapsulating everything through the weekend, of about 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain in parts of Trinidad. So our typical spots, southern sections, we could have some flooding. And then you see here, look at all this rain here building out in the Atlantic and watching that flood threat. Parts of interior sections of Venezuela, Guyana, and Suriname, ABC Islands, we have been so dry and so hot. So there's that broad spin there that could develop as we go through the weekend. Northern end of all of this, there's been a lot of heat and some scattered storms. We get over toward Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, and I like to point out these areas because sometimes you get these tropical systems that eventually move up into this direction. We're not seeing that now, but we are seeing that chance of some thunderstorms. And on Saturday afternoon near New Brunswick, coming out of Quebec, rain chance will be higher in our southern section. So over toward Nova Scotia, a little surge of moisture as well as we work our way into our Sunday forecast. But the heat, that has been some real deal heat around. 40 to 50% chance of scattered storms in Jamaica, a higher chance in the Cayman Islands, which is already panned out with some of the rain we had overnight and this morning. Trinidad and Tobago, our rain chance goes up to a 70% chance on Sunday. We could have areas of flooding. Thank you for getting the word out across Trinidad, Barbados. Rain chance, you see the climb in this. Yeah, Barbados, St. Lucia, we're up to a 50% chance for the second half of the weekend and a 50% chance in Grenada. So could see a couple showers the next few days, better chance on Sunday. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that holds true as well. Martinique, 30 to 40% chance through the weekend, up to a 50% chance of some scattered storms though in Dominica. Guadeloupe, 20 to 30% chance the next couple days, and a 20 to 30% chance Antigua and Barbuda, 20% chance the next couple days St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. And in Anguilla and St. Bart's, about a 20% chance passing shower. Isolated shower, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, 40 to 50% chance as we get back toward Puerto Rico. Watching out for some scattered storms. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, some spotty showers. Let me know if you get any. The Bahamas, watching out for the rain building on Sunday and to Monday. Little more rain central and then eventually southern Bahamas. Turks and Caicos rain chance goes up on Sunday. Scattered storms around the Dominican Republic. Isolated to scattered storms and on the hot side in Haiti. A 60% chance at least in Belize. Let me know in Belize, your location, what you're getting. It's been not hit or miss. It's been kind of widespread, but Belize back through the Yucatan of Mexico. Let me know how you're doing with some of the rain and if you have any flooding. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, that rain chance stays low, but with these new tropical waves that are going to get closer, eventually we'll see that rain chance staying high. Guyana, high rain chance in the flooding. Suriname, areas of flooding, 80% chance today, and even 50% chance in Cuba, favoring our western sections. 60 to 70% chance Costa Rica and Panama, Nicaragua, a 70% chance in the next couple of days, and a 40 to 50% chance in Honduras with some isolated areas of flooding, especially western sections. Guatemala and El Salvador, since we've had so much rain, any additional rain could lead to that flood threat and the rock slide threat or mudslides in the area. Mexico City, scattered showers. At least we're back at it with Alberto kind of breaking the trend. The Yucatan, that's where most of the rain has been. 30% chance across northern Colombia. In northern Venezuela, about a 30 to 40% chance. And we're looking generally on the good side for the weekend as we get through Bermuda. So a new system trying to form, actually a couple of those trying to form. We'll be watching that system in the Bay of Campeche, trying to work into Mexico this weekend. Tropical waves pumping in this weekend, that one headed toward the eastern Caribbean, and then later this month, which is really later next week, we could see some development as we get closer to the eastern Caribbean. That's why I talked about that right away. Nothing alarming, just an area I'm going to monitor very closely. So I'll be worrying in the background. You don't worry about a thing. You be safe and have a good rest of your weekend.